Okay, this video is on the most missed questions on the Chapter 5 exam. Here we go. The first question, they want to know what will be the ending inventory under weighted average and FIFO. FIFO stands for first in, first out. So, ABC Company purchased two identical items of inventory. The item purchased first cost $29. We've got that listed right here. And the item purchased second cost $30. Okay. Blake sold one of the items for $54. And what will be the ending inventory under weighted average under FIFO? Well, under weighted average, what we're going to do is take these two items that we bought, add them together, and get a total, and then divide by 2, since we have two items here, and get a weighted average of, looks like $29.50. So if he uses weighted average, the ending inventory will be $29.50. Sold one for $29.50, kept one for $29.50. All right, what about under FIFO, first in, first out? All right, first one purchased for $29, and the second one purchased cost $30. And so if we use FIFO, the ending inventory will be $30 because the first one in, $29, will be the first one we sell. Therefore, we'll only have one left, which would be one for $30. Take a look at the next question. They want to know what will be the cost of goods sold. All right, so ABC Company uses a perpetual inventory system. ABC purchased 600 units of inventory at a cost of $7 a piece, so that's our first purchase. At a later date, the company purchased an additional $750 worth of inventory at $9 a piece. Okay. And if the company uses FIFO and sells 950 units of inventory, the amount of the cost of goods sold will be what? All right, so under FIFO, the first thing in's the first thing out. So if they sell, let's see, if they sold 950 units, they'd sell all of these, 650, and they would sell, 600 units rather, and they would sell another 350 of these units. So we have 1,350 units available, and we sell 950 of them, and so we end up with 400 in our ending inventory, and that 400 comes from the batch that we paid $9 for. So another way to put this out on something you can see would be we have 600 units at $7 that we sold, plus another 350 units that we have $9 that we cost us $9. So that's a total of cost of goods sold. These are all sold units, they're all gone, and they cost a total of $7,350. It's important in these kind of questions to understand what it is they're wanting to know. For example, if they said, we want to know what's the amount of ending inventory, then the ending inventory, since we've sold all of these and we've sold 350 of these, then it looks like we'd have 400 left of these as our ending inventory, but they don't want to know that. So right there, $400, 400 left of those at $9, but they want to know the cost of goods sold. And by the way, the ending inventory and the cost of goods sold are two sides of the same coin. So keep that in mind. Let's go to the next question. Here we all have all this information about inventory, purchases and sales and so forth and so on. And they want to know what's the weighted average cost per unit for May. So what you would do is you would take, for example, 1,500 units at $4.60, would be $6,900. Same thing for the next for the purchase. We had a beginning inventory there. That's the purchase of 1,600 units at $480. That's a total of $79.80. Now the weighted average cost inventory would be, you're going to figure out what each of these cost in total. And so the next batch would be 1,800 units at $490. That'd be total of $88.20. The next batch is going to be 1,400 units at $5. Next batch would be total $7,000. Next batch would be, there was no more batches. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 batches. Total cost of all these divided by the total units. That'll give you the weighted average cost per unit. The total cost of all the pieces divided by the total units. And so the total cost is 30,400 divided by 6,300 units. That'll give us a weighted average cost per unit of $4.83. Next question. They want to know, let's see, the ending inventory assuming FIFO. Ending inventory assuming FIFO. Okay. So let's go through there. We have 1,900 units available. That's how many units we've got. We've 400, 500, 900, 900, and 700 plus 300. That's a total of 1,900 units available for sale. And if we sell 1,500 units of these, then we've got 400 units left. That's what the ending inventory is. Now let's figure out the cost of it. The cost of it will be based on what we sell, what we sold, which would be if we sold 1,500, these are all gone, these are all gone, these are, let's see, mostly gone except for 100. So we have 100 of these left, and we've got 300 of these left. So 300 of these at 280 would be added to 100 units of this batch for 270, and this would give us a total of, when you can multiply all that out, it gives you a total of ending inventory of $1,110. Again, that's if you sold under FIFO, if you sold 1,500 units, then these are all gone, these are all gone, these are all gone except 100, and then these are still left in inventory. So you got 100 of these, 300 of these. Next one. They want to know the gross margin assuming weighted average cost. Gross margin. Okay, so gross margin is going to be sales minus cost of goods sold. So let's see, 600 of these at 280 would be 1680. 700 of these at $300 would be 2100. 900 of these at 310 would be 2790. 500 of them would be at 320 would be 1600. So now you've got all the pieces there for all the different costs for each of the different purchases and beginning inventory. So you have 2,700 units, and they cost a total of $81.70. Divide the $81.70 by the 2,700 units, and you should get a weighted average cost per unit of $3.03. Now, let's see. If we sell 2,100 units, which is what we did, we sold 2,100 units at $4.70. That gives us a total sales price of $98.70. If we then take the cost of those units, which would be 2,100 units times 303 weighted average cost, they cost us $63.63, and they want to know the gross margin, which is sales minus cost of goods sold. That'll give us gross margin of $35.07. Let's take a look at the next one. In the next one, we want to know gross margin assuming FIFO cost flow. Gross margin. Okay. So if we sold 3,300 units, then we've sold all of these, right? We've sold all of these, and we've sold all of these except for 200. So now let's go back and take a look at it. So let's see. There's 1,000 units at 360, $3,600. There's 1,100 units at 4,180. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I made a mistake back up here. Let's keep on what we're doing. We sold 1,000 of these. We sold all these, right? We sold all of these, which is 4,180, and we've sold 1,200 of these. All right, so that's going to be 4,680 together. So our cost of goods sold, selling all of these at these prices under FIFO, first thing in, first thing out, would be $12,460, and they want to know gross margin. So if we sold 3,300 units at $5.50 a piece, that's $18,150 for sales, minus the cost of goods sold here at $12,460. That gives us a gross margin of $56.90. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one, they want to know the cost of goods sold under FIFO. Cost of goods sold. All right. So we got beginning inventory. Got me started with 65 units of beginning inventory that cost $260 a piece. So the beginning inventory cost in total 65 times 260, which would be $169. And then we've got purchases of 300 units at $310, which is going to be $930. Again, another set of purchases of 200 units at 320, which is 640, and we have another set of purchases of 55 at 360, which is 198. Now those are all the things we purchased. And if you're trying to figure out cost of goods sold under FIFO, you're asking the question, if you sold 325 units, what did you sell? Well, you sold all of these beginning inventory, plus you sold most of these except for whatever it takes to get from 325 to 365, whatever that is. That looks like that's 40 units. So you sold all but 40 of these. All right, so you had available goods for sale, 620 units. Total dollars available were 1937. And here's what you sold. You sold 65 at 260. You sold a total of 325, and here's how you got there. 65 at 260, which is this batch. 260 at 310, which is this batch. And that's it. That's what you sold. Because these two pieces together will give you 325 units. And that's a total of $975, which is the cost of goods sold under FIFO. Look at the next one here. They want to know the amount of inventory appearing on the balance sheet following the sale will be how much. So they want to know the amount of inventory appearing on the balance sheet following the sale. All right, so find ending inventory units first. That's step one. So ABC uses perpetual inventory method on January 1st, year one. The company first day of operations, ABC purchased 1,150 units of inventory that cost $550 each. So there's beginning inventory, 1,150 units at $550 each. They also purchased on January 10th 1,400 units at a cost of $750 each. And so that's what this 1,400 units would be. And then they sold 1,300 units. Let's see, where would that be? That would be, and they sold 1,300 units inventory. And so we want to know the ending inventory total, which would be ending inventory be beginning inventory plus what they purchased minus what they sold. This would give you a total of 1,250 rather units in ending inventory. That's the first step. Now, next step is to find the weighted average cost per unit. So the weighted average cost per unit will be as follows: 1,150 units times 550, which would be 6,325. 1,400 units at 750, which is 10,500, and that gives you the total amount they purchased in dollars and in units. Divide the dollars by the units, and you should get $650 per unit. You could have maybe combined these two steps, but I wanted to show them to you separately. So we have a weighted average cost here of per unit of $6.60. Next step, find the ending inventory in dollars. Well, we just said up here we calculated the ending inventory of 1,250 units. So all we have to do now is multiply that times the weighted average cost per unit, which is $6.60, and we'll get the ending inventory value of units at $8,250. And let's see. So is that the end of it? It was the end of it. Okay. So raise your hand if you've ever been to Canada. Okay. I don't see many hands. How about raise your hand if you know where Canada's at? I still don't see too many hands. How about raise your hand if you've ever heard of something called Canada? Okay. Well, Canada is this country that's above us. And I had the good fortune of going over there to Canada over the summer, and I just happened to see their nuclear defense system. It's amazing. Now, let's go on. Let's see. They want to know, assuming ABC uses FIFO cost method, the cost of goods sold for sales transactions on January 31st would be what? All right. They want to know cost of goods sold under FIFO. We've probably done this before, but here we go. This is a perpetual inventory system, so it'll be a little different. So let's see what we got here. Now, let me start this over here. We've got a beginning inventory on January the 1st of 1,500 units. And by the way, we got one more problem after this one, then we're finished, I think. So we've got beginning inventory of 1,500 units at $470. We purchase another set of units on January 12th, 1,600 units at $450, and then we sell 1,700 of these units for $6.20. Now, under FIFO perpetual, we have to do the following. We got to go all the way back. When we sell these 1,700 units, these 1,700 units were going to be taken out in the following way. You take all 1,500 of these are all gone, which is what I'm showing you right here. For the January 18th sale, you sell all of these, you sell all these units right here, and you got 200 of these left, right? So, and then you sell 200 of these, 200 of these units at $450, and that means you have an ending inventory right now of 1,400 units, and that ending inventory is going to be based at $4.50 a piece. So hold that thought somewhere. Now, you buy more units. You buy 1,500 units at $480. You buy another batch of units at 1,300 units at $460, and then you sell 1,650 units at $620. They want to know what's the cost of goods sold of these units under FIFO perpetual for the January 31st sales. So remember, back up here, we had a couple hundred units that we had left in the inventory, and these are going to go first. So when you have to figure out the cost of goods sold for the January 31st units of 1,650 units, right here, like I said, back up here, you didn't sell. Let's see, you only sold 200 of these, right? You sold 200 of these, so you have 1,400 of these left. So 1,400 of these will be what you'll use as your cost of goods sold, which is part of this 1,650. So we sold the remainder of the things that we purchased back up here for 1,400 units times 450, or $6,300, and then the difference between what we totally sold and this batch that we just completely got rid of on January the 12th, now we're going to the next batch, and this next batch is what we're going to sell to get our total 1,650 units. So if we sold 1,400 units out of that batch, that 1,600 unit batch, then we're going to take another 250 out of this batch, and that'll be for 480. So 250 out of the batch that you bought on the 21st of January, 250 times 480 will be $1,200, and that total is what you're going to be using as the cost of goods sold. So the cost of goods sold will be $750. Remember, that's a little different because it's perpetual inventory. Let's see, this will be our last one. So our last one, we use perpetual inventory system, and they used FIFO as the cost flow system, and they want to know what's the ending inventory. So ending inventory, here we go. So notice that we bought some inventory on January 1st, 500 units, bought some more, 600 units on the 12th. We sold some of these pieces up here. We sold 700. So let's go through, and so if we sold 700, that means the first 500 are going to come out of this batch, so they're all gone. And again, we want to know ending inventory, not the cost of goods sold, but the ending inventory. So all 500 of these are gone. And then from that 700, you got 200 left to sell. Well, 200 will come out of here. So you got 200 will be left in ending inventory right here. So you've got sold 200 of these, and you have $400 pieces left in ending inventory from this purchase right here. So for that $700, 700 units of sales, you sold all of these and 200 of these, which means you got 400 left. Keep that in mind. Now, when we go down here a little bit further, we've sold 650 units, and the first thing we're going to pull from is going to be the 400 left we have right here. So let's do that. So on January 31st, we sold 650 units, that's these, right, at $420 a piece, or they have a total sales of $2,730. And like I said, the first thing we're going to pull from, since this is FIFO, first in, first out, this 650, 400 will come out of here, out of this January the 12th purchase. So they're gone, right? And then you need another 250 out of this purchase, the 21st purchase, and they're going to be gone. So now these are all gone, these are all gone, 250 of these are gone, and so what you have left in your ending inventory is, since you 250 are gone, you have 250 of these and 300 of these at these two prices, and that'll be your ending inventory. So let's go on through here. So cost of goods sold, we don't care about it, but we're going to calculate it anyway. Cost of goods sold will be the sales minus these two costs, which would be $1,750 for cost, which would be a total gross margin of $1,030. That's good to know. We don't care about it though. What we care about is ending inventory. So ending inventory is going to be the 250 that we had left from that purchase, because 250 of them went up to here, right? So 250 from right here, and the other 300 from right there, and that's going to be a total of 700 for that batch and 780 for that batch. Total ending inventory is 1480, and that's the end of our review. Good luck.